Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here. I'm going to be doing the movie review for Money Heist for the whole season 2, or part 2 they call it in this. I don't know how they're going to do 4 parts, but anyway, this is going to be the whole review for part 2, which is amazing. Before I get started, please check out our member program both on YouTube and at Patreon. Please check out the book links and all the links in the description below. We have some cool stuff, even joining Larry Lawton's action crew, which we're starting to make a difference. I'm actually down in Key West, Florida for a few days, and I thought I would still stop and do this review because I'm hooked on this show. La Casa De Papel, which is House of Paper in Spanish. And I will tell you, man, I am hooked on Money Heist. And obviously, I did the reviews for season 1 in like 4-episode groups. But what I would do this time, I thought, was do each season as they come. I don't know how they're going to get 4 seasons out of this. I really don't. But I don't know what's going to be. It has to be... Okay, let me tell you where I'm at. I ended at season 2. Season 2 ended the robbery, the actual success of the Money Heist. And man, wait till I get into this. This was so cool, I got to say. Really, it's one of the... I keep telling everybody about this show because it's got me hooked. It still got me hooked. Now they got season 3 and 4. I have no idea what they're going to do for season 3 and 4. The only thing I can think of they're doing for season 3 and 4 is the hunt for these guys. Let me tell you how the whole show. I'll give a quick recap on season 1. The whole premise of the show was these guys take over the Mint of Spain, where they print the money, and how they escape and how they do this whole thing is just off the charts. It ends on season 1. I'm picking it up in season 2, and in season 2 is, boy, they're starting to lose it. They're in this mint printing money. That's what their goal is, to print money. And they're printing money so it's unmarked bills, and they can get all this money and do whatever they want with, I guess. Obviously, but what I'm seeing is there's a resistance, and that's what there is. They actually got the people on their side because people are getting screwed over all the time by governments. And boy, if that's not the truth, it is really the truth, so it's pretty cool. So anyway, season 2 ends up where Raquel, who's the inspector, she's a woman who's got a kid and a mother, and she lives alone, and she was getting, and the professor, who's the head of this whole robbery, is on the outside, and he's like got into this lady's life. So this is going to be a good episode where they got this relationship going. And the ending of season 1 is where the professor drives her to the scene where the professor and his crew planned this whole robbery. And they were at this house for probably 6 months out in the country, this big mansion out in the country. And so they're out there in the country, and there's so much evidence out there. They find the house. They pinpoint the house. They find it. Little do I know that the professor planned all that. He planned them finding it. He planned everything, even right down to planting DNA. He planted a cigarette butt on the ground and a bottle cap. It was pretty cool. So he did all of this planting of the evidence, knowing they were going to find him. So, of course, they find everything. Little does he know, he literally falls in love with this Raquel. And listen, I'm not into the love stories. I'm not, if you told me this was a love story, I wouldn't watch it. I'm telling you, I wouldn't watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm an asshole and I don't like love stories now and then, but I'd rather have a good movie like this or a show like this where they have, planning, and I love robberies where it's more than just shoot 'em up stuff. This is a planned heist, because I was like that. I mean, when I planned my jewelry robberies, I was just the same way. I literally planned them out very intently. So anyway, in this robbery, it's so planned. Every little move is planned, and how they intertwine this show into a TV show. First of all, it's based in Spain, and it's a Spain show. So they dub the voices. It's not like you have to read anything, but they dub the voices. And it's perfect. You even forget that it is even a Spanish movie. Little things will make you remember it. But if you're in America, watch this show, Money Heist. It's called Money Heist. You'll love it. I guarantee you'll love it. And then you let me know what you think of it. So anyway, they find out who it is. But here's somebody who's into the scene. There is a new character in this season 2, which is Raquel's ex-husband, who's another jerk-off cop. You know, isn't it funny how cops marry cops? And listen, I get it. I get that's the only kind of people that associate with each other. But listen, there's some good cops out there, and I know them. I wish they would get a different perspective by maybe getting with somebody who's not in the profession. But I guess love is love. Anyway, this guy and Raquel are divorced. They had a bad divorce. Well, obviously, they find a piece of evidence at this place that the professor didn't plan on. A little piece of some paperwork that floated up into the chimney. So when that happened, he had to get that piece of evidence. So how does he do that? He gets a ride back home from this inspector. It was another inspector, which is Raquel's ex-husband. Well, he knows he got this piece of evidence, so he has to change this piece of evidence. So this is a funny part. He tells him he has to go to the bathroom, and meaning taking a shit. I don't mean just go and take a piss. So he goes behind this place, and he gets a piece of paper, like a burnt piece of paper. He burns it with a match, so it's a little piece of paper, and he keeps that piece of paper. And he's going to switch the piece of evidence that the guy has. First of all, in that scene, I mean, you know, I know this is sick, but the first thing I think is, how do you wipe your ass? But anyway, I guess he supposedly wiped his ass, but if he didn't, how did he wash his hands? So he didn't. So this guy is next. I know it's crazy, but that's what I was thinking. I'm sure a lot of people were thinking the same thing. But anyway, so getting back into the show. So he gets back into the car, and he pretty much entices this guy, telling him he's an asshole for leaving Raquel the way he did. And the guy gets real pissed off. He's an asshole to begin with. And he says, get out of the car. Well, the professor's some martial arts expert and literally knocks him out without even a punch, you know, does a few moves, gets his thing, I don't know what he does, and he knocks him out. He switches this piece of evidence into an evidence box that was in the trunk. He switches the evidence into a little, like, you know, microscopic little glass plates. So he does that, and after he does that, he lets the guy get up, and the guy points a gun at him and says, "You're arrested for assaulting the cop." First of all, the cop is a jerk-off. Because how would you ask a guy to get out of the car, let's have a fight, or let's handle this like men, and then arrest the guy? I mean, that's bullshit, you know. I mean, you beat your ass and now you arrest him with a gun? That's bullshit. So he ends up arresting the guy. He takes him into the police station, and now the professor needs to make a call. Because in the vault, they're having a lot of problems. What's going on in the vault? That's happened on the outside. Well, since the professor had protocols, you had to contact each other every 6 hours. And after 21 hours, there's something else that happens. If they don't hear the professor, maybe he's caught. Well, anyway, it was close to the 20. It was like after the 18 hours, so there's another 6 hours. But things are happening in the vault. You know, Tokyo gets me so mad because she's a crazy bitch. She's a little crazy bitch. And she ends up trying to take over. Listen, Berlin, I love Berlin to the death. Listen, it showed right to the end Berlin was a superstar. And I called Berlin before anybody. When I first started reviewing this movie, I said, Berlin's got it. There's something about Berlin I like. Well, little do I find out later, Berlin is actually the professor's brother. But the Berlin is dying of an unknown disease or something. They don't really get into too much. But he has some vials. So they end up, Berlin says, okay, you want to, because they don't hear from the professor. So these people are starting to panic in there. I'm talking about the crew, the gang. They're all starting to panic. And they break off into fractions. There's Rio, Denver, and Tokyo. Tokyo's a crazy bitch. She's a sick bitch. I don't know, something about her I like and something about her I hate. You know, I get mad. And then I look and I say, I'd kill this bitch. But anyway, so, and then there's Berlin, Helsinki, Nairobi, that's the other one, Nairobi, and one other, Moscow at the time. So they all side with Berlin on, he goes, okay, let's make it a democracy. And does everybody want to leave? And they all vote, and they say, we're going to stick with the professor and his plan. And these three say, no. Well, they lose, but they don't accept the vote. So what happens is The crazy Tokyo goes nuts and points a gun and takes Berlin hostage. Takes Berlin hostage in a chair, in a room, and has a gun to a head and is playing Russian roulette with him, spinning the wheel, spinning the chamber of a gun, pointing it to his head and clicking. You know, when I see those stuff in a movie or a show, I always say, let him go off. Let him kill him. Let's see what happens. Nobody would expect that. Because listen, I'm watching that and saying they ain't going to kill him that way. But if they just blew him away right there, I would like, oh my God. I mean, I never saw that before. I'd be talking about that scene. But anyway, they can't kill off Berlin that way. So Berlin gets thing, and Nairobi's on the other end of the door. Now they find him, and they're coming, come on, let him out, blah, blah, blah. This Tokyo says some hurtful shit to Nairobi about her kid. You know, really stuff that I'm like, what a bitch. This bitch is a bitch. She's crazy. So anyway, they break the door down. There's always, you know, in this whole show, there's so many standoffs. Guns pointing at us. Listen to me. I've had guns pointed at me. I've pointed guns at people. Trust me, there's none of this long standoff shit. You either drop it or shoot. There's none of this bullshit. Drop it or shoot. I don't care who you are, drop it or shoot. So anyway, here they are. Nairobi comes in, they have the standoff. Then Tokyo drops the guns. Everybody drops the gun. Actually, no. Helsinki grabs Tokyo by the throat and grabs her gun and holds her. Because this Tokyo is a psycho bitch. So she holds her by the throat and he's got her, you know, like this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a great one. But here they are. Okay, now they're settled in. And what does Berlin do? This is season 2. Berlin straps Tokyo to a gurney, opens the front door, and rolls her down out into the police. He doesn't kill her. He gets her out of the robbery and rolls her down the stairs. It's a pretty cool scene. All the cops come running. But believe it or not, the professor even had this planned. Had it planned, what do you do if you get caught, what we're going to do and all that. Yeah, literally, I'm telling you, this show, you got to watch. So anyway, the professor gets in contact with everybody. They do it. And how he calms it down is Berlin says, I got a message from the professor to Nairobi. Because Nairobi took over being in charge. She goes, now instead of a patriarch, it's a matriarch, which is a mother, leading mother kind of role. So she takes that out role, but then the professor talks to her and says, I'm going to have Tokyo escaped. And sure enough, the professor did it. The professor had a contingency plan where he would take her and got her out. He literally gets Tokyo away. So Tokyo gets away. She's on the motor. She gets away at that point. And so now the professor's getting the robbery. They're getting close to him, but he's got to complete the tunnel. The tunnel is actually, they have a couple of tunnels, but the tunnel is going up into where he is, into his place, which is not far away, but it's like near a beer distributor, some warehouse for a beer distributor. So it's pretty cool how he has that set up. But here, again, he gets arrested by that cop. So now he's off of line again. He gets away, figures all that out, but Tokyo doesn't know what to do. So what does Tokyo do? This is crazy. She's on a motorcycle, a 250, you know, like a Suzuki 250. She takes this motorcycle and drives right through the police that are surrounding the Mint, and she's heading at it. She calls the number and says that she's coming back in. So what a great scene. She comes racing down with the motorcycle, coming right down. People are shooting at her. She goes up the stairs, takes it off, boom. They open the door. She flies in. They're all shooting it up. And she gets in. They shut the door. But Moscow was hit. Moscow was hit bad. He got 3 shots. So they had a couple of good scenes where he, told his son, which was Denver, that, hey, listen, it wasn't your fault in life, your mom. He tells the whole story of his mom, who's a junkie, and how he tried to help his mother. Well, anyway, during this time, Raquel, the head inspector, figures out that it's Silva, the guy she's in love with, is the head of this whole entire thing. She figures it out. But here's what got me a little bit wacky and would never happen. She ends up arresting him, puts him, reads him his rights, like that means anything. After she reads him the rights, She fucking takes him to a house, and puts him under a lie detector test. Really, did you love me? That kind of crap and all. That whole scene was like, oh, give me a freaking break. You're not going to do that. You're not going to be alone. This guy just took out your ex-husband like it was nothing, and now you're going to just forget about it and do all of this. So that to me was bullshit. But it was what it was. It was bullshit. But anyway, she figures it out. So while she's doing it, she catches a gun. Silva says, listen, to show you that I really do love you. He turns the gun around. He gives it a gun. What does she do? She picks up the gun and points it at him. When she picks up the gun and points it at him, she's like, gonna get out, get down. You're going to jail. I'm taking you in. Well, he has one of his guys, the professor, gets her from behind, takes her, and now they have her like this, tied up. Her hands are tied like this. And now she's got to sit there, and now he's doing his business. And the sign comes up that Angel was her assistant. He comes out of his coma. This is what they say in the news. He really didn't at the time. But he says they said it did, so the professor had to go make sure if that was true. He does this whole elaborate act with a clown, and to find out it was all bullshit. At that time, he does not come out of his coma, and it was a setup. But it didn't work. The professor was too smart and figured it out with a doll, with a camera. Just a cool... He's so smart. It's just so cool about that. But it also shows now that Raquel is really with him. Because when he does come out of the coma, Angel calls her. And Angel says, I have to see you. And Angel's the one who knows where the professor's place is. Knows where it is. Sure enough, Raquel says, I gotta go see you. I'll go see him. Trust me. Sure enough, he does trust her, and she does come through. She goes and sees him. She won't tell where he is, and this guy, Angel's a stand-up guy, won't betray Raquel, and he doesn't say either. But they arrest Raquel. Now the inspector is arrested. Now, like, wow, they have a commander who's a real dick. He's in charge now. But anyway, at this point, the robbery's almost over. Here's Tokyo comes in, and she gets back in, but now there's 2 dead. Oslo died when they hit him in the head with that pipe, and he ended up being a vegetable. And Helsinki, which is his buddy, has to put his hand over his face, a pillow, and literally suffocates him because he was a vegetable anyway. It was the way to do it. So he does that, gets rid of him, and now Moscow is dead. Moscow dies, and they got the 2 coffins. When they break through the wall, they were building the tunnel. The professor was digging one way, and his crew, and these people were digging. And sure enough, they meet, and the professor comes through, and he says the goodbyes to Moscow and Oslo, and now the plan is on. Now they need to get out of there because they know they're going to be found real soon. This is all planned. Sure enough, one of the best scenes I've ever seen. And again, it made me like, now I know why I like Berlin. Berlin goes out like a champ. When I say goes out like a champ, he doesn't kill the hostage, the lady he had. That was a fantasy that she liked him. That's all bullshit. But he went out to protect them and give them time. Had a Browning machine gun. He wouldn't let them pass. And I mean, when I say wouldn't let them pass, because they were following him down the line. And they were going to get to him. And I'm not kidding. They needed to blow this tunnel. But he says, I'm staying back to give you guys time. He gives them time. That's when I find out that Silva in Berlin are brothers. I kind of knew they were close, but now I found out they were brothers. And I'll tell you what. Wow, what a scene when he did it. Berlin held these 4 guys off with a Browning machine gun, and the girl he had from the hostages reloading the ammo, and they just shot him, and then they threw grenades there. They ended up, he still got down, came out. When he wanted to die, he knew he was dying. He wanted to die with dignity, he said. And I'll tell you, he went out in class. He went out shooting, and they just shot him up. Great scene, really a great scene. But they get away. And when I tell you, I mean, you want to talk about now, they show the truck leaving. It's a beer truck. Now, every one of those kegs are filled with the money. €1 billion. which is like $1.3 billion, €1 billion, over €1 billion in small bills, pretty much. I mean, a whole truck was full of money. And Helsinki and the professor drive out. And it was just cool the way they all went their separate ways. And this is how this show ends. So the show ends with Raquel, who they just show her a year after the robbery, how it ends. And when they were together as a couple, the professor wanted to go away to an island, so he gave her all these postcards. But on these postcards, in the corner, was literally, if you put them all together, an island with the coordinates. Sure enough, a year later, Raquel figured it out. And she goes into this place, and she still don't know. And how it ends is how they met. She needed a charger in the restaurant that they had met originally, and he goes, "You can use my charger." Well, she was asking a bartender in this little place where this island where she swears they are. She don't know yet. She goes, "Can I use a charger? I need a charger. My phone is dead." And of course, the professor turns around with that look and takes his hat off. And he goes, "Do you really need a charger? Or some, if you need a charger." It was just a cool scene. Now, they got away with this robbery. They got away with all the money. Now, I have no clue what season 3 and season 4 are going to be, because they got away with the robbery. I got to assume it's got to be the hunt for all of them. You know, that's the only thing. I have never read anything about this show. People might tell me, if somebody writes me and tells me what happened, I stop reading, to be honest. So I don't do that. I just stop reading. I totally stop reading. But let me end here. What a great, great, great show. La Casa de Papel, House of Paper. One of the great shows. I can't wait to start season 3. I'm going to do that review here in a few weeks, I'm sure. Maybe 2-3 weeks. You guys liking this movie, Money Heist? Check it out on Netflix, Money Heist. I don't get anything for this, everybody. You know that. I'm just doing it because I think you'd love it. And 2 things I didn't think there was too much of. Totally, there wouldn't be all these holding guns on each other. That's one thing that's overplayed. The other thing that was overplayed is the love angles on law enforcement. I don't know how much they're really into that love stuff, but it's a show, and it's a pretty cool show. I think you guys will like it. Guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the show, Money Heist. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I guarantee you're going to get hooked. Watch it. Money Heist on Netflix. In Spanish, La Casa de Papel. So please watch this show. Great show. And if you enjoy it, please comment, please like, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit that million subscriber mark by my birthday, October 3rd. Have a great day, everybody. Check out the links below, the questions. You stay strong. Have a great and safe week. Please make good choices. Listen to your officials. Thanks for being a subscriber. You guys are my family. Have a great day, everybody. Much respect, much love.